Hey y'all, what's up? It's Lauren and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about my favorite YA standalones of all time. Now I want to warn y'all, this is my opinion. This doesn't have to be your opinion. This is my opinion. And yeah, good to get that out of the way. Get that off my chest. But let's go ahead and get started. So my first one, there is one middle grades, but I still consider that YA because we talked about it in my YA class when I was in college. But anyways, this is my favorite YA standalones of all time. My first one, in order, coming in at number one, is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I know it's probably a typical answer, but it's just one of my favorites. Cancer has affected my family in many ways, and I think he does a really great job of portraying how cancer not only affects you personally, but it can also affect other people in your family as well. So I think that he does such a great job, and I love, love, love Augustus. I think I want an Augustus in my life. We all need an Augustus Waters in our life. I don't know what else to say about this book. I just think it is a brilliant masterpiece. One of his best and one of my favorites, one of my favorites by him so far is this. I haven't read Turtles All the Way Down yet. It is on my list to get, so I am going to be watching out for that, but this is just, I don't even know what else to say about it. My second favorite is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, and this is coming in at number 2 of my favorite standalones. I don't know what else to say about this either. This is also another literary masterpiece that we also discussed in my YA class. We discussed The Fault in Our Stars as well, but it's just, when I read this book, there was nothing like it. And there still is really nothing like it. For those of you who have read it, the narration is one thing that I can say that is just truly 100% unique. I don't think I've ever found anything that's like narrated like this before, and it gives you a totally different perspective on who this character is and the story told through his eyes. I feel like if it had been told through Liesel's eyes, then we probably wouldn't have had the same effect that it had on me. It was beautiful, and I sobbed my eyes out, and I don't know what else to say about this beautiful masterpiece of a book. But I'm so glad that I picked it up and read it when I did, because it totally changed my life. The words, it's beautiful. The girl Liesel talks about how words changed her life. And I can totally agree with her, because words have totally changed my life as well, for the better. And, learning to read and learning to write is something that we all take for granted. And when you can't read or write, or when you come across someone who can't read or write, it's definitely something on a whole totally different scale. And it makes you grateful for things that you take for granted every single day. And so this book was just really humbling, and it's really amazing and beautiful, and I loved it, and that's why it's number 2. It should be number 1. It's tying with number 1, but like I said, I have affiliations with that particular book with John Green and everything that just make it number 1. But this is my number 2 favorite. Now, number 3, I don't have a physical copy of. It is Wonder by Rj Palacio. That is the middle grade read. It also covers a big topic in my life, which is bullying. From an early time, I was bullied. And, that's all right. I've learned to overcome it, and I have made great friends. And I've learned from being my bullying experience. And I wish the book had been written when I was in middle school and when I was in high school being bullied. I wish that it had been written later. And I'm glad that it has been written now, because bullying is still a huge, huge problem. And I feel like it does a really good job at bringing attention to it. And that's why I'm so glad that they came out with a movie for it, because this puts wonder in everybody's, like, the front of their minds, and this puts wonder, what the storyline of wonder in front of everyone's minds, so that way maybe when they look at it and they think about it, they can be like, oh, maybe I can make a change in how I perceive someone. And, just a kind word. Choose kindness. And that's what the whole book is about. Choosing kindness. And I love Augie. He is one of my favorite characters. He's just such a cute kid. And I love how RJ starts out, Palacio starts out not giving us a description of Augie at all. So we don't know what he looks like. And we just know that he has some kind of deformity, but that's it. That's all we know. And I really like that because it gives us as the reader, it not only gives us a chance to see him, for who he is inside and his personality, and makes us fall in love with him before his appearance is revealed, but it also shows us that it gives us an example of what we need to do as human beings and treat other people the way that we want to be treated, and show, and how we need to come at people. We need to look at them from what's in here and not what's out here. So I think that book on all kinds of levels is just so amazing, and it is one of my all-time favorite YAs, and it probably will still be one of my all-time favorite YAs. And a lot of these books I've chosen because they mean a lot to me in different ways. Like I said, we have the first one, obviously cancer has affected my family. The second one, words, that's affected me. And then this one, bullying, has affected me. So I think, we have a good wide range of that. But I just could not say any more about how I feel about Wonder. It's just such a beautiful book. And I think it's so needed in today's society because everybody's just so mean and horrible to everyone. And I think we need Augie's influence and him telling us in the back of our minds, hey, choose kindness. Be kind. I don't care what you look like. Be kind. I don't care how, what kind of disabilities you have. You need to be kind. And I think this story is going to last. It should have been written years ago, but, we can't help that. But I think now that it's written, it's going to last. I think it's going to be, it's just going to be one of those books that lasts forever. I want to teach it in my classroom to my high schoolers, I think it's a great message that we can all hear in middle grades, high school, young adult, anytime adult. It's just a great story that we all need to hear. And it's just, I love it. I'm so glad that she wrote it. And, like I said, it's a little late coming, but I'm glad that it's here. So that is definitely, and I'm sorry I don't have a physical copy. We actually read that in my YA, and I had found a digital, I have an audiobook of it, but I don't have, like, the, actual cover book, but it is on my list to go buy, because I need to have that book. So I'm sorry I don't have a physical copy, but I did read it, and it was so phenomenal. I loved it. The next book is The Memory Book by Laura Avery. I found this at Walmart. It was just something that I had picked up. The cover called to me. I was like, ooh, what is this about? And I read the back, and it's about this girl. Her name's Samantha, and she has this disease. It's Niemann-Pick type C, or NPC, and it messes with your memory and cognition, motor function, you name it. The worst part of NPC, besides the inevitably terminal part, is that you're losing your memory. So that's why it's the memory book. Her friends, and she actually keeps a journal of events that happen in her life towards the end there, and it's very sad. But I loved it. I think it was very well written, and I don't hear a lot about Laura Avery, and I think it's probably because she's a fairly new author. But I loved it. Samantha just made a huge impact on me. Her story made a huge impact on me. I don't know, I felt, I didn't even, have to experience, what she was going through, but I actually felt like I knew her in a way, and it it was a beautiful story. I cried at the end. I mean, it's sad, but like it's gorgeous. And if you guys want a review on this book, please let me know. I do not mind reviewing it at all. I actually reviewed it for my school newspaper when I was in, because I read this when I was in school. But I don't know. It's gorgeous, and I love it, and I don't know how much more I can talk about it. It just, it makes you grateful for the things that you have and everything, and it was just a great book. And she, even towards the end, everything, she stayed hopeful. She wrote things, and like her friends were there for her. It was just a beautiful story of love. Not only love in her respect, like, her boyfriend, girlfriend love, but also love like friendship and parental and other kinds of relationships. So I think that was a beautiful depiction of that. And that's why I chose this as number 4 on my list. Number 5 is from one of my favorite authors, and that is Rumble by Ellen Hopkins. This is such, out of all of her books that I've read, there are series, there are standalones. I do have a favorite, but I think this one is also another one of my all-time favorites. After I finished reading this, my favorite moved from Identical to Rumble. And it was just, and she kind of taught, she went a different direction with this. And those of you who don't know, I'll probably do a whole like Ellen Hopkins video. Excuse me. We've got like tractors out here, so if y'all hear noises, I apologize. But good night. What is he doing? Anyways, I can do a whole Ellen Hopkins video if you want me to. I don't mind doing that. Talking about my favorite books, talking about like my recommendations, things like that. But Rumble was really good. I picked it up. It was her newest at the time when I picked it up. And it was gorgeous. It's about this guy, these two, Matthew Turner. I'll read y'all the synopsis of it. It goes, Matthew Turner doesn't have faith in anything, not in family. His is a shambles after his younger brother was bullied into suicide. Not in so-called friends who turn their backs when things get tough. Not in some all-powerful creator who lets too much bad stuff happen. And certainly not in some it gets better psychobabble. No matter what his girlfriend Hayden says about faith and forgiveness, there's no way Matt's forgiving all those he blames. He's decided to live large and go out with a huge bang. And whatever happens, happens. But when a horrific event plunges Matt into a dark, silent place, he hears a rumble that wakes him up, calling everything he's ever believed and disbelieved into question. With brilliant sensitivity and emotional resonance, best-selling author Ellen Hopkins' Rumble explores the highly charged landscapes of faith and forgiveness in a story that asks, what if you don't have faith in yourself, let alone in anyone or anything else? And what if the one person you need to forgive is the most is yourself? I loved it. Because, and I mean, I'm a Christian, and reading this, it was kind of like the Christian's journey, because, we go through doubt, and then we find it again. And he and a lot of this was self-discovery, and I think he discovered who he was because he had set his hopes and all of his dreams into a relationship, and it didn't work out. And I think we've all been there at one point or another where, we've set all of our hopes and dreams into this one particular thing or this one particular being, and bam, they break up with us, or bam, it just all goes to heck, and it just doesn't work out. And so you lose all faith, and then after a while, it takes a long time for it to build back up, that faith to build back up. And once it does, you're a new person. And I really loved his self-exploration. And it also, his ex-girlfriend, it shows us her self-exploration as well. And it really just shows you, it's a really great story of finding yourself as a human being. and finding your faith, finding faith in what you believe in and faith in your friends and things like that. And it was just a really, really great story. It was a really great kind of coming of age type of thing and finding yourself. And out of all of her books, I thought it was really the least heavy of all of them, because a lot of her books, I'm going to go 90s because I'm a 90s girl, I can't help it, but a lot of her books are heavy. And I'm not going to, sit there and tell you a story and say, oh, they're light, fluffy reads. They're not. They're very hard to read because they tackle a lot of very hard-hitting issues. And so out of all of them, this is the least heaviest of them all. And I don't know. Maybe it's because it's not heavy. I don't know. It's probably because of the characters and the storyline and everything. It was just a great book, and I absolutely loved it. The next one is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. I loved this book. It was hyped up to be like hilarious and witty and funny, and I didn't get that, but I did love the whole story overall. It was great. I loved the twist on it. I was a history minor when I was in college, so it just made me happy that these ladies are kind of coming behind and giving this particular Jane a happy ending. Naturally, the history buff in me wants to be like, naturally, like I said, I kind of want to pick out the parts that are historically inaccurate, but then again, I also realize it's fiction, and, what's a fiction gonna harm us, gonna do to us? So, and as a history major, it kind of like gave me a little bit of like happiness to see her, because of the way that her story ends in real life. It kind of made me very happy to see how her story ended in this, and I absolutely loved it. It was cute. I gave it 5 stars. It was great, and I loved it. It was just a great little story, and it was one of my absolute favorites, and I'll pick it up again and again and again because it was that good. And I cannot wait for their My Plain Jane to come out in June. I can't wait. So, and I can actually do a full review on this, so please let me know if you want to see a full review on this. I read this before I started my YouTube channel, or I started BookTube, so it would be great. I actually might just do a review on this anyways, but, yeah, I was so excited, and I thought it was so good and so well written, especially with 3 different authors. You couldn't really tell who which different authors wrote what part, and I think that's a huge accomplishment, because usually when you have 2 or more authors, you're like, oh, this person wrote this part, and this person wrote this part, and you can definitely tell. And so I think with this, it was kind of like blended, and you couldn't really tell. I don't know a lot of these authors, like their single work, so I really wouldn't know their writing style. So that's probably why I couldn't tell, but I thought it was really well written for having 3 authors. So, great book. And my last one is Paper Towns by John Green. I don't know why this one spoke to me. It was just, I think it was the fact that, she didn't know what she wanted to be, and she didn't have answers, and she just didn't know anything, and yeah, she was a mystery. And I think this says a lot about us as humans, because, to a certain extent, we all don't know who, our friends are. We don't know who our people are. And also, we put people on pedestals that we really shouldn't maybe be putting on pedestals in the first place. So I think that was really interesting. I just loved this. This was a great book. And I hate that a lot of people didn't like it, because I thought it was great. I thought it was a really good book. A lot of it, I don't know what else to say about it. It just spoke to me. It spoke to me. It made me think. It made me sit here and be like, well, what am I really doing with my life? She questioned her existence, and not in a suicidal way, but she questioned her existence. And I think we've all been there. This existential, like, what are we doing here? What do we really, want in life? What's really going to happen to us? Do I really just want to go get a job, live a boring life, have kids, get married, or do I want to go do something great and be great? And you know, and I think we all have come across that at one point in our life, and I think John Green did a really good job, and this is one of his really more interesting, like, books that isn't talked about a lot, and I loved it, and I thought it was really great. So that's it for my favorite YA standalones. If y'all are interested in more content, please subscribe down here at the bottom, and also hit the notification bell so you are notified as to when I upload new videos. I also have an Instagram. It is livelovesbooks17. Please feel free to add me. I don't care. I want to be friends with y'all. I want to meet y'all. Please add me on Instagram. I also have a Goodreads. I believe it's Lauren, quote, livelovesbooks17. End quote. I'm not sure, but I can post the link to both of them in the description down below. So please, please, please follow me on both of those. I'm still working on getting a Twitter. I'm not a big Twitter kind of person, so I mostly will be on Instagram and Goodreads. I am a Facebook person, but I'm more of a private Facebook person. So anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed that, and let me know if there's anything y'all want to see on this channel. I'll also be doing an Instagram poll as to, you know, what do y'all want to see next. Just let me know, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.